Boom. And we're live. What's happening? As DJ Succotash says, howdy campers. It's Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. If I got that wrong, I'm in trouble. First and foremost, some housekeeping for the channel. Don't forget to take your aspirin, whatever that means. And the live stream schedule for the foreseeable future is already posted to the channel. So that means this week, next week, the 27th, no episode on Wednesday. Is that April 3rd, I believe? I will be out of town that Wednesday, and then we will be doing our pre-NAB Camera Flask on Wednesday, April 10th. So that's the schedule going forward. I still need to figure out the 18th, which is the Wednesday right after NAB. It's a big question mark right now because right now I'm scheduled to come back here and then do the weekly live stream. Something might change, and if it does, then I'll just keep you up to date on it. All right, let's do some shout outs here. We've got Thaddeus, we've got Brandon, we have DJ Succotash, the happy camper, we have David, oh no, hey, here we are, and no palpitations, and Pat's not here to keep me on track. Yeah, so there we go. So it is, as always, on the weekly live streams, all about this thing right here, which to me is to my left. It's the chat, it's the comments, it's the reactions, it's the at the C47 if you want to bring up a topic. Joe at Tech. Maybe I pronounced that differently. I don't know if I screwed that up, but we got the family here. And I have to say that the NAB schedule is starting to fill up. Oh no, I don't know if you worked out your flight from Chicago down to Vegas, but we are definitely looking at an early afternoon on Monday, April 15th for our get together. Yeah, the Molus. Geez, there we go. It's starting. All right, we'll talk about that, DJ Succotash. Jote or Joat? I say Jote. It's a little tricky when you're doing all of those lowercase, uppercase things. You gotta tell me. Hands up, all that stuff. I love it. That doesn't sound right, Brandon. Jem loves, in all caps, his molus. What is a molus? All right, hold on. Let's see. Where is it? It's never too far away. Here it is. All right, so the X100, I've had this since the beginning of time in terms of when I saw the video for it, jack of all trades. All right, there we go. Love it. I don't know what molus means. I never even looked it up. I don't know why. Jeez, DJ, it's getting rough over here with you in the comments lately. What just happened? Why is my email open? That's bad. I'm getting ideas for things. All right, whatever. That's closing out. Bye-bye. Already shot my episode for the daily drop. I just have to upload it after the live stream. Talking a little bit about the new guidelines from YouTube regarding disclosing generative AI and all that kind of stuff. All right. Jack of all trades. I've seen this Zune light video, skipped all of them, as in skip the videos or skip buying the lights, using them. Look, the battery was absolute dog poo on this thing. It lasted, I don't know, 3 or 4 charges and then died, and apparently that is a known issue. And recently they came out with a brand new version of this light, which is pretty interesting because it is very similar to this one. It has a built-in, I believe, non-removable battery, and it's a little less expensive, but it is quote unquote crippled a little bit because when you are running the light outside of certain color temperatures, you can't get full intensity output. So it's a little strange, but for me, this was definitely a step in the right direction for this kind of form factor and having a lot of light output for its size. Quiet because of the fan design, 100-watt COB. It's it's definitely an interesting light, and I think that that little funky variation of this light, while not very interesting to me, I'd prefer to just get this without the battery thing and USB-C power it. Today, I think it was today, maybe it was yesterday, video started dropping on a new light that they have released called the X60. Um, Different than the G60. Hold on. Which is this Rubik's Cube kind of 60-watt, but the new one is a 60-watt, but it's kind of like they took this and they chopped this whole part off of it, right? So that's all gone. It's even smaller than that, and it's a 60-watt, and they make it in two versions. One is a bicolor, so you're getting a 2700 to 6500 Kelvin. The other one, far more interesting to me, as a 60-watt, which is the move to RGB. No plus minus green adjustment. Not loving that. But this little X60 really seems to be sort of like the little sibling to the X100, but with an RGB option. So I'm actually very interested in that. Can I run this off of mains? Geez Louise, the questions I get. I'm pretty sure. Yes, there's a DC port right here, DJ. So you can. I have really only run this thing off of USB-C since I got it. Wish it had a locking USB-C port, which we've discussed in the past. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. You're planning on taking the flight you hate the most, the early flight, oh no, to hang with you guys. I appreciate it. What time does it land? Or have you not booked it? Just give me the real deal here, oh no, because we need to figure this out. Okay. So, oh no, you chime in on that, and then let's just keep this conversation going. That's all I got for you on the MOLIS, though. I still don't have an answer unless it's already been posted here in terms of what MOLIS means. I think, oh no, you said that. So you got two answers you got to give me. David says, for me, the problem with those is that the Bowens mount as a reflector built in and makes adapting modifiers a bit difficult. I would agree with you on that, David. For me, the draw of this light here is not adapting it to Bowens because there's plenty of lights slightly larger than this that have a native Bowens mount. It's definitely something it should have, and I'm assuming because the cob is a little smaller that they're maybe partially doing that just because of the fact that they're adapting to this large amount and there's distance and they need to make sure that there's enough light spread. I don't think it's just about intensifying, but I wish there was an option to pull that insert out or something else, but I do know what you're saying. But if it was all black in that adapter, then it would start absorbing light. Tricky business. They got to make yeah. But why is the reflector making adapting modifiers a bit difficult for you, David? That's what I'd like to know. I just like a little more clarification on that. Because again, it's not an adapter. I have it, but it's not an adapter I really use. I'm trying to keep the form factor small and use that. I do wish that they would have this little I don't know what they call it, Z mount, I believe. It's it's kind of like a mini Bowens. I wish they had this with a little Fresnel. There's no Fresnel option for the smaller mount. All right, let's see. James, makes a lot of sense that you're staying with aperture so that you can stay within that Sidus, app world. Don't fault you for that. That's for sure. There we go. All right, chiming in. Lots of aperture love here today. They make great fixtures. I have not booked, but I have it booked. Okay. I'm not going to babysit you, but try to land before noon if you can. If you can't, totally understand. But I think we're going to realistically have to make this somewhere in that 1 o'clock in the afternoon time period. DJ Succotash says, yes, I'm trying to find a suitable 60-watt cob for a coworker and kind of bashing between Amarin and Molis. Yeah, I mean, the 60s, I am also a huge fan of the Nanlite 60C. It's a great fixture. It's not the cheapest in the 60-watt, but it's RGB ACL. I love all of the controls. Yeah, there you go. Softening for me is primarily there's a larger reflector. If I can get it quickly, I will. If I can't find it, then just give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves. Where is it? Come on. It's very low light in here. No, I don't have the larger version. It's in here somewhere, but there's a much larger reflector and dome option that's still the mini mount. That's the one I prefer to use. It just has more spread, obviously, and it's this little silicone little dome that pops on here, and then you just put it onto this little Molis mount. Come on. There we go. So it's that, but there's a bigger one. So that's what I'm usually using. And if I'm bouncing into an umbrella or off of something, I'll use that. Yeah. Aperture 60 is great. I mean, these are all great lights. So, and the projector for the 60C, the 36-degree one, that's in pretty heavy rotation for work that I do, for sure. Okay, I'm going backwards here now. I'm seeing some laughing, but I don't know what we're referring to. Trying to find, boom, 7 a.m. flight from Orlando, arrives 12 noon. All right, that's pretty close. What are the nice softening options? We did that. Driving through a car wash right now. Should I send a picture? Yeah, why don't you email that to me right now, Brandon, so I can panic once again. Ridiculous. I don't think I'm not far enough to email. David says, I want it small too, not judging. But they don't have a lot of native modifier options for that Zune mount. I like the small modifiers options like Godex for a lot of for their mount. Yep, exactly. Fresnel. Do you guys know if CDs go bad? Are you talking about compact discs? Oh, I don't know. You are talking about what are you installing from 2015? What from 9 years ago, oh no, are you installing? What version of what would it be? I mean, we were already on the outs. All right, I want to know the answer to that. Jess says, favorite light when on the road, go. Maybe you've all answered and I'm missing your comments, but let's see. Nobody. I'm not judging on the loving of the projectors. I love the projectors too. All right, here we go. People are waking up. Lots of things coming in here. He's installing drivers for the modem. Okay, 56.6, I would say, if it's 2015. QuickBooks on a Windows 11 emulation on a Mac via Parallels. I mean, I can't imagine why you'd be having any problems with that, oh no. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, why would you ever have problems when you're trying to install off of a CD-ROM QuickBooks Pro 2015 on a Windows 11 emulation on a Mac via Parallels? Oh, Parallels is really the Windows. Yeah, okay. Well, there we go. All right, James is coming in with some more love. Love the Amarins. Have 360s, 3P60C panels. More nice video look than cinematic. What? Oh, good. Yeah, I'm tracking with that. I still haul. Here we go. DJ's answering Jess. I still haul around my set of Aperture 3. Yeah, the Aperture 300X is a workhorse. A couple of soft boxes and some bounce and soft flags. I'm tracking with you. Oh no. I figured that's why you're going down that road. Crazy. David's coming in strong. Hey Daniel. We're talking about favorite fixtures for on the road, lighting that is. And we're talking about CD-ROMs. We haven't talked about food at all. This is definitely the molest thing starting us going down a road here. What do you guys do with 360Ds? They are so dim. That's throwing shade. Maybe that's the appropriate thing to say. You can use 60Ds. What's great about the 60s in a controlled or semi-controlled environment, depending on what optics you have on them, is they're great for kickers. They're great for, again, depending on the modifiers, for background light, and they're really good for specials when you just want to put, attention on a particular object or thing in a space. So I think they're good for that. In a very controlled environment, there's no reason why you can't use a 60 watt for a key. I mean, recently I was down doing that project, not that really recently anymore, the project down in LA for Steadicam, and I was using the Nanlite 300B2, and I had that dialed down zero fan because it was at 15%, and I was shooting at 2000, I believe, ISO, and I was shooting at an f5, so crazy, and that was being pushed through a 4x4 Magic Cloth, which is basically a two-stop diffuser. So it's getting crazy. That was a completely controlled environment. There we go. Jess is coming in with the food. She's making sourdough banana bread. We've had the starter going in 3 different jars, and it's getting crazy. It depends. A lot of people like using smaller fixtures like 60s for different reasons around there. I definitely see people setting that up. I mean, it was pretty common when the Felix, like the P360s were out, people would use them for specials and for kickers and things like that. Doesn't have to be that you're using 3, and I'm not recommending that everybody get that. To me, the kind of starter kit nowadays would be a 5 to 750 watt COB light as your key source. Could be a 300, but you'll find, as we all do, that as you start getting into different shooting scenarios with more available light, and depending on how you like to modify that key, that having that higher intensity output to begin with can be very, very advantageous. So if you're building book lights, or you're pushing through heavier diffusion, especially if you wanted to do something like push through unbleached or bleached muslin, then that might be a place where you would want to have a higher output light. So I'd say you start there as like a 5 to 750. So that could be a 500 B2 from Nanlite. It could be a 600. I would go with X because I like bicolor, and usually bicolor units nowadays will have, not all of them, but some will have plus minus green. Color versions will, but then you take a hit in terms of output usually. And then the second unit would probably be somewhere in that 2 to 300 watt range, and that can do a lot of damage as well. And then you you talk about how many of these little fixtures you need for things. So there you go. And it's all going to have to do with what your budget is, and what kind of content you're trying to create, and how much flexibility you need, so on and so forth. All right, let me let me let me actually find the trackpad here. Let's see what else we got. Boom, boom, boom. David's used that 300X a lot for sure. Daniel invested in a load of small rig 120s and a 450B. 450B, decent lights, but the app is shockingly bad. Yeah, Nanlite finally updated theirs, which is great. And let's go. We're gonna call our starter the mollusk. It's like a combination of the two. All right. When you're lighting in the field and power isn't an option and you can't use V-mount, what's the solution? Shot some interviews on a construction site and needed powerful lighting, but I'm assuming you're saying couldn't get power. I mean, right now there are expensive powering, like large power banks. What is it? E-Green and Aperture's branding one. They're very expensive, but they're essentially e-generators, right? So I have a 2K putt or a 2K generator, which is pretty standard. The Honda one is like the industry standard. I don't have that. I have another brand, but a 2K putt will get you out there doing a lot of stuff, but it's really only advantageous for MOS or without sound based content. So what's exciting about what's happening now with these larger, power banks that are essentially e-generators is that we're starting to get to the place where we can go out and power these LED fixtures silently, so we can still record sound, but very, very pricey. I mean, um, you're talking about the 600X being pricey. Those things are beasts. All right. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. More people coming in. There we go. Excellent idea. Blah, blah, blah. Wow, there's a lot of stuff just happened while I was blabbing my mouth off on e-generators. Let's see. Not trying to do a ton of sculpting light. Key and fill with umbrella, softbox, backlight, and hyper. I usually have 20 as a. Okay. Who wins in the fight? Lava Cat always wins, if that's the question, DJ. Yeah, I mean, but relatively, I would say that even though the anchors are not as pricey as the EcoFlows and the Apertures, it's not a nothing investment, and you can't just feed it more fuel. You got to give it juice. So we'll figure it all out. But I would say in a year or two, it's going to be pretty common that if you're going out on the job, you're going to have a large portable power bank that you can run off of. The batteries are getting smaller, more efficient. It's all kinds of stuff that are happening, and I think it's good. I don't need a thumb up. What do I need a thumbs up for? But I appreciate it. All right, what do we got? Let's get some more conversations going here. Son has tryouts tonight for basketball. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to upload the episode. I'm going to head on out and take him to do that. All right, let's see. Other than the wooden camera, big guy, are there any other contenders for vertical mounting a camera of the body size roughly equivalent to a C300? That's a great question. I don't have an answer to that. I'm assuming somebody has something, and I would not be surprised if Small Rig has something or is going to be coming out with something in the future. Not that I have any intel on that, but they tend to go down that route. Less so maybe newer. They seem to sort of be a little less riggy than Small Rig does. So I don't have an answer, but anybody else want to chime in? What's the wooden camera one called? Do you remember? Yeah. All right. So, and kids, it's March 20th. We're literally in that window of time now where we're about 3 weeks away from NAB. So don't be silly and go out buying lots of equipment right now. I'm not saying there's going to be lots of announcements, but we're going to sort of, our next two chances to see what's coming next are going to be NAB, April 14th through the 18th or whatever that is. And then not that long after that, which I'll be going down to Cinegear in LA. So, and then I think we're waiting until IBC in September for the next round. All right. People already mount these power stations into their grip bands. They absolutely do. They're all over the place. And not a big investment for somebody who's in that space. But I'm just going to say that, while we've been investing on smaller crew productions in battery solutions over these years, eventually we will be getting into these, I believe, these larger power banks, because they're just going to be so efficient when we're walking into spaces and we're trying to power a bunch of stuff and get the job done. And maybe we can't plug into mains. All right, let's see. Yeah, it feels like only wooden camera seems to have, and in the $400 range up here, feels like small rig should have. It's the vertical L bracket. I'll look into it. Didn't Matthews have a couple of vertical mounting solutions? Possibly. I don't know. Anyone excited about the Leica Deluxe reboot? I haven't seen it, but I'd like to look it up now and see. Is it going to be an X106 rival in price as well? Interested to hear about that, because is it going to be, at least sub $2,000 for a Leica? I want to hear. Tell me more, Brandon. You could use a traditional Jenny and get it far away. It's inexpensive, but they are loud. I've run mine many, many times for both production related stuff and just to, like, we have a power outage and they're going. The Honda 2K putt putt. You don't have to buy a Honda. They're all pretty, reliable. As far as I know, get a 25% disc. Well, Daniel, you're not here, right? Are you UK based, I believe? So that might be different. But let me just see if I can. The Honda 2K putt. Honda 2K putt. Of course, I'm calling it a putt, and that's not going to bring me any. Here it is. It is actually. It's the putt 2K. I don't think it's called that. And you can rent them cheap. Rental house will have them for, I don't know, $50 to $100 a day. It's called the Honda EU Inverter 2000i. Copy. So the 2000i. David says Pecron has some great, powerful power banks and at a great price. And you're talking about the big ones, right? You're talking about like the ones with a handle that we could use in place of a generator. Just clarifying with you, David. Original Deluxe was $1,700. Okay, so it's in the range, slightly more expensive than the X106, but probably cheaper than the X105 because those things were inflated. Yeah, Daniel, if you go to B&Q, you might be able to find something there too. I would imagine they would do that. Yeah, like a B&Q is going to have that, or just go on Amazon. Check it out. But there's a lot of options. We have an El Cheapo place called Harbor Freight here in the States, and they constantly send me 25% off coupons, and they have sales all the time, and they have generators too, but I don't think they have them in the UK. But you got B&Q, and I'm just trying to think of other big box stores that might have it. B&Q probably. Young man. I think you're the young man, Daniel, but you're welcome. A strange sense that I'm on the upper side of the age range when we're talking about this stuff. All right. Yes, David, good. Um, James comes in with Pittsburgh instead of Milwaukee. I'm not tracking. I clearly missed something that I am not tracking with. I'm going back here to see if there's a comment that I can track with that you made. Um, I don't know. Or maybe it's you're responding to somebody's answer to something you posted. James, you're going to have to tell me. The Pecron E600 LFP. No, I know you were, Daniel. I'm just taking the piss a little bit. And I really wasn't taking the piss. I'm saying that that I'm still older. uh, yeah, Harbor Freight. What did they say about it? What about Harbor Freight tool brands? They're Pittsburgh instead of Milwaukee. Did I say something about that? I don't know. I'm in Oregon. We have one just down the road. They're all over the place here in the States. What are we talking about? I want to see this thing, everybody. I'm sorry, I'm over here typing things in, but that's the way it goes here on the live stream. E600 and then LFP. Wow. All right, let's see what happens. Let's see what the Amazon says. As fast as 1 day with Amazon Prime. Oh yeah, those are pretty reasonable. All right. These things seem to be coming down in price. Maybe it's time for me to start to consider one. You know, I thought the beefy ones I thought were all, you know, plus $1,000 US, but there's some stuff in here that looks interesting. I'm still figuring that I would be going for something that would be in the higher watt hours. So there's this VTO Man one, which is 1800 watt hours, peak 3600 watt, I guess, at I don't know, high output. The Jackery one's obviously quite well known. All right, maybe I'll bookmark the page. Here's a 1500 watt for $500. Yeah, all right. Well, we shall see. All right, let's go. What's next? Yep, I saw that 2000, a little more expensive, but 2K watt hours. Jackery is overpriced. All right, let's go. What's next? And at the theC47, what time do we have? We are three threes, triple 3 p.m. Pacific time, and yeah, it's busy here. I'm heading up north, and Daniel says, just connected with you on LinkedIn. Don't ghost me. Okay, I won't. Does that mean I have to accept? I have to accept your invite. I will do that. What am I doing about my long-term data? I haven't gone down the LTO crazy like Caleb route. No, it's usually a double drive. You know, I don't do a lot of the posts for my clients' projects. So what we do is we budget for a RAID system, and all of that stuff goes onto a RAID. So there's redundancy there, but we generally have a backup to another drive. You know, I always say that hard drives, spinning platters, or SSD technology, and it's all ticking time bombs. It's zeros and ones, and probably at some point in the near, if not far future, it's gonna implode on itself. But I don't know. I don't know. But double drives, and that seems to do the trick. No, Caleb is like hardcore, which I, you know, that's a thing, but it's not me. Backblaze is a good solution. I haven't gone down the cloud route yet. I don't know. Part of the problem is where I'm located also, which is very rural. So my upload speeds and what I can do, kind of like pushing data up, isn't fantastic. So Yeah. All right. Dustin, hey, welcome. Or if you've been here, continuous welcome. NAB is coming up. What you buying? Looking for? Well, I can answer the question for myself, but I'd love to hear about everybody else here. Um, for me, I'm going to NAB for a few reasons. Clearly, for me, because it's year 20 plus something, see friends and colleagues. But a lot of what I'll be doing this year is meeting with companies, um, probably on two fronts. One is content creation for creating educational content in and around their products. The other one is related to the daily drop. So we'll see how that all goes, but it'll be 4 or 5 days of just continuous, and it's starting to happen now. I'm having those Zoom calls with different PR firms and different companies, and the schedule's starting to now fill up, which is great. And then to sort of answer the rest of that question, for me it's primarily going to be about figuring out the virtual production side of things for corporate and small crew production. And by figuring out, I mean, I don't even know if I can figure it out, but I'm going to be spending some time on stuff related to that. Obviously, if we have new product announcements, I'll be interested in that. And I'll be creating some at least BTS footage of things that I see at the show that are really interesting to me. And I'll be creating some content for the daily drop in and around that. Not news shooter or Cine D style, but really more this, and then cutting to footage, talking about some things that I thought were interesting, and then of course that can become fodder for the live stream and all that stuff. All right, here we go, and anybody else can chime in too. Daily drop data is going to duplicate drives, and I'm using SSDs, and it's not going to a RAID, though maybe it should. The content isn't extremely data intensive, David, because what I'm doing is shooting on, at least currently, on Sony cameras like the A7C2 and the FX. Oh, it's not there now. It's somewhere. Oh, it's right here. The FX30, and shooting at a relatively low data rate. 100 megabits per second is pretty low. And then just doing backups of everything. So it is what it is. It's working, and I have multiple copies, and maybe I'll get a RAID system or something for that. I need to have backups of all of the exported data, and I do back up the timelines and the stuff that I have there. So if I want to pull some clips and incorporate them like I have in other episodes that I shoot later on, I can do that pretty easily. But we'll see. I don't really, it's precious data to a degree, and probably will be a little more precious as I start to bring, the sponsorship component on. But yeah, here we go. All right, let's see what we got here. If you could live and work in any country for only 3 years and then come back, where would it be? Phew. That's a good question. Part of me says the UK because that's where my family is, so I could see them, my other part of my family. And I really liked living in London when I was younger. But I'd have to have a conversation with my wife about this. And my first trip to Asia, and the only place I've been to in Asia, is Japan, and I'd love to go back there. Could I live there for 3 years? The way that country is structured, I don't know. It's a fascinating place to me, but as somebody who doesn't know that language and stuff, I think that would be rough. If I was just chilling, like I was working and doing a lot of stuff, but I didn't have the stress of I've got normal deadlines and things like that, I'd probably just go hang out in Italy. Quality of life there. It's chaotic from a political standpoint, but it's pretty lovely from a lifestyle standpoint. And it's a place I've been to many times. So maybe I'd just go to Italy or maybe hang out on one of those islands in Greece and just chill. I don't know. All right, let's see what else we got. I know RAID is not a backup. It's redundancy, but it's not a backup. And there's been plenty of RAID systems that have gone bad, including ones that have been on projects that we've done. So there we go. All right, next question. Let's see. And DJ ends it clearly with a 3-2-1. Understood. Yes. But do you keep the original clips or just the final edit? I keep the original clips, David. So I don't just, that's all part of it. So yes. James says, okay, here we go. At NAB, I'm hoping for an FX50, an FX30, and an FS5 form factor with EVF. I will not get it. That's a great post. And I agree, you probably will not get it. All right, Dustin says, I'm hoping to see new RF mount cinema cameras from Canon. Not that I'd buy one now. I literally just picked up a used C500 Mark II, but in 4 years I can get the RF. All right, so you're not in the super rush. I will say that for a digital cinema camera, mount aside, that the C500 Mark II is a hell of a camera for its price point right now. You're getting so much out of that camera for its price. And if you've got EF mount lenses, then you're golden. I would love also to see a version of a C300 Mark III, C500 Mark II. At this point, my gut tells me that full frame would be the better way to go. I'm not sure if we need a Super 35 and a full frame version of cameras in the Cinema EOS line that are priced within a few $1,000s of each other. Especially now because, these cameras have Super 35, 16 millimeter crop modes, and the flexibility is there. Take advantage of the larger sensor in terms of theoretically low light capabilities and things like that. Obviously, more flexibility in terms of glass, but also the fact that you can use, 35 millimeter lenses, APS-C lenses when you're going into those crop modes. So that's my take on it. They may still have two there, but and the C70 has been a very successful camera system, and it's really their only digital cinema camera so far in the Cinema EOS line. And the R5C is arguably kind of that because of the way it now boots up and its whole menu system is Cinema EOS. But it's still a hybrid camera, and it's a little bit different. So that's my feeling. And then I would love to see next versions of the FX6 and the FX9 at some point. It's inevitable that it'll happen, but we'll see. Yeah, and I see. I still don't know how Joe at Tech, how to pronounce that because of the uppercase J, lowercase O, and then the AT in all caps. So I'm gonna screw that up for a while, I think. Yes. Yeah, FX6 is definitely not replaced by Burano. I mean, we're talking about a, $5,000 to $6,000 price point, and then of course 25,000. I think you're being stepping into some heavy territory there, Daniel. What territory is Daniel? Oh, whoa. Monitor calibration, that's a whole other thing, and I'm not an expert on that, and I'm not saying that I ever will be. I think there's going to be advancements in that space, but there's so many variables when it comes to monitors and how they're set up and everything else. I think it's like a dark art or something. But other people may have it licked. I sure don't. We'll probably get a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema in a box form factor before that. Yeah. Oh, before before uh before James's wish list camera comes in. Yeah. Yeah, and that'll be interesting. We'll see if Blackmagic comes in. And it'll be great to do the April 10th show of Camera Flask because it'll be just a few days before the show starts. And hopefully a good amount of the stuff that's going to be announced for that show will have been announced by that time. So we'll see. All right. Let's see. Well, you definitely could replace your FX6 with a Burano for an extra $20,000. All right. Blackmagic will release a box style camera finally, but powered by AA batteries. If they do that, Dustin, my guess is that it will run longer on AA batteries than the original true pocket cinema camera that they came out with did on the batteries it ran on, which was abysmal. And I'm joking, of course, it wouldn't run as long on AA batteries, but it might. And I love that little camera. I thought that and the 2.5K Blackmagic camera, the sensors on those two cameras for me were probably my two favorites, though I haven't shot a lot with the newer cameras. And I'm liking what they're doing in terms of color science, and I think they have a very good UI and Blackmagic cameras. They're just not currently really the right fit cameras for me, but I think they're doing some interesting stuff. AA battery BMD 20 seconds, that's like 10 more seconds than you would get on the battery for the original pocket cinema camera. So double, I'm thinking, maybe. All right, let's see. Just cut a BTS video for a new sports studio facility and they went with a dozen red cameras, which seems surprising. Depends on who the production company was, and maybe they made an investment into, X number of Komodos or Komodo X's. If that's what they were shooting, if they're shooting with higher end and they did a dozen Raptors or something, then that's kind of crazy sauce, maybe. But not so surprising if they already owned a quantity of, Komodos, either version, then it may have made sense for them to just say, let's just go with all of these because they want to make their money on the cameras. Maybe not. You can chime in and give me some more information if that's okay to share. Yeah, we're getting into the Blackmagic bashing of battery life here thing. All right. If the FX6 had IBIS, that would be a camera worth getting. For what we do, a rigged out FX3 or A7S3 is currently a better solution. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, the big advantage on that FX6, besides its incredible low light capabilities, is, it has the variable ND built into the camera. I think that's big. XLRs. Different horses for different courses, and that variable ND has been around since the FS5 series. It's pretty great. It's, Sony's really the only company out there so far who's created a technology that lets you, it sounds ridiculous to say it, but pull ND, because you can set your camera and you can lock aperture in, you can lock ISO in, you can, lock certain features, and then have your camera set up and go from an interior to exterior or exterior to an interior space and have it pull exposure using ND. Not a bad thing, it's pretty cool. All right. All reds for live broadcast, which I haven't really seen before. Hey, I'm on a project bid right now where the client is asking for, in an event type scenario, 3 Venice 2s. and then all the other rooms are going to be the PTZ cameras from Sony that have full sensors, full frame sensors. So, you know, people do some crazy stuff out there. I haven't seen anything about the Burano having tons of IR noise, so I'll have to look into that. So that'll be interesting to see. I take pretty much anything with a grain of salt nowadays that I see, maybe even including my content, or maybe you should, on the internet, because there's so much opinion about things, and I have opinions about things, and that's part of it. Hopefully, the vast majority of my opinions that I'm sharing are based on experience and what I've been doing for a long time. But it could be that we have an IR noise issue with the Burano. Um, most of the cameras that have come out in the last few years have largely mitigated those problems, but you know, it's used to be a big issue with a lot of cameras. All right, let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Let's see what happens during what's that? So Eggs World, I don't know what you mean. What happens during a project bid? I mean, it just depends on what the project is and how that request comes to you, right? Like you may have an existing client and you're just sort of organically talking about new content for them, and they see we need a project budget, a bid for that, and we need a proposal that outlines the project. Other companies, when they send out something called a request for proposal or RFP, they're required essentially to go out to 3 companies for bids. They may have already chosen the company they're going to use, but just they have to do it for the process. And sometimes a referral will come in, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there trying to figure out what the parameters are, and you have to give a bid on the project, which is usually a proposal and a budget. So, all right, I'll have to check out the CVP thing because they're pretty reliable outfit over there in the United Kingdom. Komodo X, if I could afford it. Interesting. All right, Bill's coming in with a request there of a wish list. DJ's in the background being tech support on the monitor question or giving some feedback. There we go. Oh, DJ's all over this for Daniel. So there we go. Boom. There we go. Let's give a thumbs up to DJ. Get super chat or whatever that's called. Super thanks, DJ, for this one. He just keeps going. All right, it's great. There we go. I'm not getting the guess my messages not going through because are skipped all the time. I'm bouncing back and forth and trying to grab some stuff here. I don't always read out every comment. Usually, an at theC47 to get a conversation going. But sometimes, like when you're making the comments about sensor readouts and, on the Burano being a kind of a joke or things like that. I mean, I just called out the CVP one and looking in that. So I can't call out all of the comments, but I'm tracking with you. 3 thumbs up from Brandon. I'm imagining that's for DJ Succotash. There you go. But yeah, let's keep it going. What time do we have? We're getting close. 3:54. 6-7 minutes away from uploading tomorrow's episode. Hopping in the car. Picking up the boy, taking him to his tryouts. It's a beautiful thing. All right. What do we got? Let's get one more topic going in here. We will be doing the weekly live stream unless something production-wise comes up for me next Wednesday. So there you go. Yeah, you're already close to midnight over there. The comments. Is it going to be one of the ones where we go into the last 5 minutes and it's a flurry of insanity? Somebody comes in with the big question and I have to answer it quickly. I'm down for whatever. So if you want to throw something up on there that is relevant, I'm ready to go. We got a good 5 minutes here. Um, it's now 11:55 p.m. For you over there. So you're kissing midnight at any moment. And what's for dinner? I have no idea, Brandon, because I'm picking up the boy, on Pacific time. And so basketball, I'll probably grab something to eat while he's in tryouts, and then I'll bring him something. Ono's got Popeyes waiting. What does that mean? It's like in a little box. Uh, like on the table, just waiting for you. You say, "Who knows the C47 name? I do not," as in what it means. That's or something else. But if you don't, I can tell you that it's not the airplane. It's industry. Just look up a C47 if that's your question. Sourdough bread, ha ha ha. Yes, that's right. Ono comes in with they wanted $1 extra for mac and cheese, so I got red beans and rice. As in, red beans and rice was included in the price. I like red beans and rice as long as they're good. Yeah, you gotta if that top is down on that fried chicken, if that's what you've got from Popeyes, you better not let steam get on that stuff. Come on. Oh, the Windows install. Yeah, because you could be eating during a live stream. I can't really, but you can. I mean, I can get away with having a drink of water. Mm. Um, nah, just your name, like Peter or Greg. I'm not tracking with this. I'm not understanding this line of questioning. The C47 name of company, and these are called bullets, but if you reverse them, they'd be C47s. And you know my name, Jem, so I'm not tracking, but maybe you can clarify. Have you had to play with the new Sue video tripod? Very tempted, maybe a Sockler contender. Um, I love the original Sue monopod with the feet, and they have a new one. I have not tried their tripod, and I think I'll go over and see Sunny from Sue at NAB and see what they're like. But it's really hard with tripods because when you buy a brand new fluid head and you use it, it's usually, I mean, you have to have counterbalance and you have to have drag and all of that stuff, and you have to be able to balance your rig. But they all feel pretty decent out of the gate, and then it's time that works against you. And there's a reason why Miller and Sockler and O'Connor, and those companies are around and have been around for so long. And a lot of that is because the longevity, the customer support. Something goes wrong and then it just gets basically fixed usually. um Oh no, without drying out the chicken, set your oven to like 170. Just let it chill in there. Yeah. All right. Red beans are not extra in the combo. Chick-fil-A people just had some the other day. I have to sit down. Oh, no problem about not being a native English speaker. I mean, my name's on the channel, Jem. Unusual, but name I was given and not short for anything. Of course, Ono has to sit down with fine china, silverware, and crystal glasses. I'm wondering if Ono, like, he gets on the flight from Chicago to Las Vegas on his way to Harry Reid, and he's like chilling over in coach, which is where we all sit. At least I do pretty much all the time. And then he takes out like the little tablecloth with the fine china and the silver. You guys are crazy. None of us are native. We're all just making stuff up. Yeah. All right. let's see. Boom, small rig. I mean, look, this tripod thing is getting crazy. It's like all of these companies that were making lights are now making tripods or making this or making that. I don't know what's happening. Oh no, with your Canon F1 with that roll of Ilford, bring it to Vegas. Shoot some stuff. Maybe we'll do a film challenge. Yeah, the sticks from Miller are really nice. They're not exactly like the Flowtech sticks, but they are quite good. But they're not quite there, but great sticks. So there you go. That's correct. JEM. Q horror. Wow, what's happening now in this last few seconds here? We're still running these absolute antique Vinton tripods for concerts. Vinton makes some great stuff. Sockler, Flowtech. Boom. Yes, you need to finish the film challenge. Thanks, Jess. Sully says hi, Jem. Coming in right at the end. Good to have you. Hope you know that one company owns Sockler, O'Connor, Monfrotto, and one more. Oh, I know. Trust me. They used to be called Vitech Group. They're now called Videndum. Um, and I know most of these companies, and I know a lot of the people who work at them. Um, I'm there's a lot of great stuff out there. I happen to be a big fan and have been for most of my professional career. It is a professional career, which is Miller, and I love some of the stuff that Sockler's doing for sure. O'Connor, there's some great solutions out there. There's just something about Miller fluid heads that I love. I think they're great. So there you go. All right. Did somebody say challenge? All right, kids, I'm gonna call it. It's 4:02 p.m. and if I don't get off of this live stream and do what I got to do over here and upload this episode for tomorrow, the world's gonna just be fine. But I still got to do it. So everybody, James, you come in at the end with that really right stuff fluid head, which is exorbitantly expensive, but is exceptionally good. So that's all I have to say about that. It's great. It's really good. Kids, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being a part of this channel. Thank you for being a part of all the stuff. Tell your friends. Thumbs up, all the good stuff. Laters.